Hi everyone, good morning, Sharona. And today's topic is the life-giving herb.
Good morning, Tamar. Good morning, everyone. And let's start with a moment of silence so that we really can make it a good morning. So I'm just taking a first few seconds to come into a rising sun within, settling myself like I'm doing now, turning my attention inwards can bring me to such a space inside, a consciousness which is rising, bringing light to my mind, light to my heart, so that I can easily step back from thoughts, feelings which are not useful for me. Come into that space like sunbeams touching a bench in a garden somewhere. Come into lightness. So our thought for today is make unconscious ones conscious by giving them the life-giving herb. Make unconscious ones conscious by giving them the life-giving herb. Isn't that good news that there's such a thing called the life-giving herb?
Yeah, I was just thinking about the exercise, the practice I was taking about helping people in, emergency states.
Oh,
And if
yeah,
I just have this life herb,
that's right.
that would be very nice.
That's right. But
Where do we find it?
yeah. Well, first, to just come into that larger picture and,
Yeah.
acknowledge that if we're going to talk life, don't we need to talk about a state of consciousness, a state of being, a quality of being, and not only the body, the
Physical.
physical
Right,
body.
right.
So this life-giving herb means you can come back to a quality state of being. Because, a lot of us, I mean, the body's functioning, we're moving around, we see, we hear, we speak, we eat. But what's the quality of life? And that would be because of the quality of thoughts or feelings that are bringing me down.
Yeah, and I like that way you phrased it. You're talking about different consciousness.
That's right. That,
Becoming in a different conscious, being unconscious,
that's right.
metaphorically, of course, not
That's
physically or
right.
emotionally or
Right.
way of life,
Right.
and becoming conscious. So maybe you can say what's the difference in your eyes between someone who's unconscious to someone who's conscious
Yeah.
in his
Well,
life.
yeah, it's very connected to what exactly is that life-giving herb. This comes from the versions we studied this morning at our Brahma Kumari's school meditation. And I was very excited when I heard, what is this life-giving herb? To me, someone who's unconscious, I mean, it's like I was unconscious before I started my spiritual practice. Unconscious means that I'm in a relationship with life completely based on what my physical organs tell me is going on. So if somebody says something very rude or insulting, that goes in my ears. It triggers the programmings and conditionings I have about people who speak to me rudely or insultingly. And according to the programmings and conditionings, I react. I can react like just shut down because I'm scared of people like that. More often than not, I can react with anger. I can react with tit for tat, also being disrespectful, according to my habits in situations like that. That's being unconscious. I'm just, I'm like a robot, whatever is the programming and conditioning, that's my reaction, not even response, but reaction. That's unconsciousness, especially because with that kind of reaction, that kind of energy, I'm just deepening that programming and conditioning. Nothing new. So tomorrow when somebody insults me or whatever, that'll be the programming and conditioning. I'm on automatic. Call it unconsciousness or call it automatic. I've handed the remote control over to you. You insult me and the button's pressed. I get angry or I get frozen. The remote control is in your hands. This is, to me, being unconscious.
So it's more, where is the control rather than automatic? Because sometimes maybe we can develop a good automatic reactions.
Absolutely. That's what it's
So
all
it's
about.
not being automatic the problem, I think, or is it? Or
yeah, I think, I'm not really sure about this. It's a great question, but a lot of times, even our good responses are still automatic, which connects us to an earlier session. This is what makes us artificial. Mommy taught me how to respond politely, mannerly. So it's automatic, but
it's interesting because what you're saying is that our true self does not come out automatically.
Yeah.
Hardly comes automatically.
Hardly. It needs sustenance, it needs exercise, because the true self is an energy presence and it's there. It's just if we've lost the path to it, or we've lost the practice of being connected there, then we're not pulling from the real energy of, say, calm, peace, respect, assertiveness. It's all just kind of like performance. It's kind of fake. This is still being unconscious.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm trying to think, what is this life, Herb?
Yeah. Well, it's so beautiful, actually. I was really excited when I heard it. It's so wonderful. This life-giving herb is in front of others. You would know all about this because you're a mother, and I think all mothers know about this. The life-giving herb is to be in front of others as if you're a mirror of their specialties. Be in front of others as like a mirror to their qualities. And if you absolutely can't find any quality in someone, he's a colleague at work, which has always been annoying, then just, again, according to your own experience of your best self, that quiet, pure energy, which is behind the mind or underneath the crazy mind, your confidence that no matter what you can look like sometimes, there is at the core a lot of very peaceful energy, gentle, silent, beautiful, loving energy. So be that in front of the others. Just remember that they are that too, underneath all the annoying stuff. Be a mirror to that beautiful, best part of them. And that will help.
First of all, I have to say, I feel like having a lavender here or something, a flower. It really, because, we need something to remember. I don't think it's automatic in every mother. I think every mother, you're right that it's a different way of looking at your kids, but still, I think every mother would be very, very happy to see her kid always with his qualities.
Right.
It's so easy, even especially in your kids, especially when they press your buttons.
Right. But, think of a 2-year-old, think of a 3-year-old.
Yeah, the little ones, they make you smile.
They make you smile. It's cute. And that's not their real nature. You know that they're tired or they're hungry, and that's why they're acting like that. So when did we stop being children? We
It's more
didn't.
than that. It's when did we stop treating others
Yeah.
as children?
That's right. Because we've lost touch with myself as the child. There was this whole fashion at one point, the inner child, but this is the child of God who's perfect and who's happy because these are energies that I am made of. And I have remembered to keep one foot there and then one foot here so that I can deliver best to the people around me and then energetically the community, the office, the family, the world.
So we're looking at a smell. I'm still sticking to that smell thing because I think smell evokes something. And it's nice to have some. I do feel that even in my practice and everything, I need something to remind me. And that's why I like about what you said about the metaphor, because sometimes I can put, we can attach, we can put, it's called in Hebrew, ogen, like an anchor.
Yeah.
We work in therapy, we put anchor, like even holding the two hands like that can be anchor. A picture. For instance, I have right above the computer, I have a picture of a waterfall.
Right.
And every time I look at that waterfall, it brings me to a different state and I remember. And now what you're saying is when you go on a different conscious state, it's that radar. I don't know, that radar that sees the other qualities. And I wonder when you say a mirror, what do you mean by that? Because if it's his quality, what do you mean? You mean I'll start acting as his quality? I give it back to him?
No, I am not to be mirroring the state that he's in this moment.
No, the state. No.
I'm to be mirroring the original, the true, the eternal divine self. And I can only do that if I am cleanly and clearly in that state myself. So I tell you what the most beautiful part of this life-giving herb is, because there's another part to it. I'm in front of that insulting person, but I am very consciously keeping myself connected to a higher energy. I'm standing at least 1 foot in that inner garden with those sunbeams coming. I'm in my peace. I'm in my well-being. I'm in my centeredness. The life-giving herb, apparently, is this energy in front of somebody who's really lost it, eventually is like a light which will enable that person to see his or her own weakness. It's a very powerful statement because it's assuming it's built on the idea that originally we are not angry, insulting, disrespectful people, and we don't want to be that way, generally speaking. I'm talking about family. I'm talking about colleagues at work. I'm talking about the clerk in the store. And so if I can stay in that, not faking it, not performing peace or respect, but come into that energy consciously inside me, that is like a light which will enable them to realize that they are standing in the dark.
Wow.
And they'll step out on their own
That
accord.
that's amazing because it involves two things. First of all, what you're saying is that we are the life giving herb.
That's
We
right.
are it. When we are in a state of our pure original form,
That's right.
we are that herb. And
We're
that's,
in that consciousness.
yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's amazing. That's a really nice thought.
Yeah.
But then when you said it, and I was thinking about all kinds of situations, and you also said it, it usually the other person will suddenly see that he's in the dark. So it might work in two ways. Maybe your energy will go usually, and it does happen. I see it happens when you go into that state of mind. Something changes. Something is a little bit softer in the others on the other one side. So
Exactly.
that's the first thing we see. But then sometimes, like you said, he sees his weaknesses suddenly because we take to ourselves. I think what this state of mind helps. Sometimes I imagine, when I try to separate myself from others, it was in the beginning of my practices, and I would imagine like two people with a lot of baggages together, and you don't even know who's, standing in front of a huge pile of baggages, and you don't know whose baggage is whose. And then I would like in my imagine say, okay, please separate the packages so each one will know which baggage is his. And that what this reminds me. And then you stay with your baggages, and I believe, and I think you too, that when we see our baggages in our own eyes, then we can decide what we want to do with them. But we cannot handle other baggages. We don't have
No,
anything to do with that.
no,
And
sorry.
yeah, no, in that state of mind, it's not always easy. It's not, it is peaceful and calm, but sometimes it's not. You start seeing, okay, what's mine? It helps you see clearly what's mine, what's yours, and it's not always easy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, again, what is it that isn't always easy? I'm talking about a practice, a spiritual practice in which I'm getting to know my best self and I'm activating her. I'm plugging into her more and more, experimenting in times when I'm not being tested or challenged, so that all of that part of me is more available when somebody doesn't come in front of me and challenges my peace. It's not just peace, it's also, assertiveness. It's also courage. It's also facing things, but all of these are energies. And so if I've been practicing keeping one foot there and then one foot here in my world of responsibility and relationships, it's going to be more available. And the very act, I mean, like you say, many times when I'm not in reaction, or say, I fall off the track and I'm insulting to someone, but that other person is not reacting. Their silence is not a silence of anger or hatred. It's a silence of just like simple because they're doing their work. In the best case scenario, if I get softer, like you said, if I calm down, it'll be because instinctively, I know, I mean, if I've done any work on myself, I know that that's not nice what I just did, and it's not necessary what I just did, and that's coming back to consciousness.
It's more than that. It's helping unconscious ones become conscious.
Exactly, exactly.
We
This
can
is a
do
big
that,
help.
and that's a big, yeah, that's a
It's a
big thing.
big help.
It's
It's
a
a
big
big
help. We can end that program with that because it's a very big help.
yeah, it is. Should we take a minute?
Yeah.
So we end the program just like we started. Go to that beautiful place which does exist energetically. The sun-beamed bench in an inner garden, drenched in the light coming from beyond. Om Shanti.
So tomorrow morning, regular YouTube. I'll see you. And bye-bye for today.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.